There are moments in life when everything in you wants to either move forward quickly or walk away completely. But deep down, you may sense that God isn't telling you to leave. He's asking you to be still. When you're confused, tired, or unsure about what to do next, that's often when God steps in quietly and invites you to pause. This pause isn't a punishment or rejection. It's a divine moment where God wants to do something in you before doing something around you. God uses seasons of waiting to bring clarity, strength, and spiritual growth. While it may feel like nothing is happening, the truth is that God is still working behind the scenes. You may notice certain signs. Your peace doesn't leave, your prayers remain strong, and your heart keeps holding on. These aren't signs of weakness or denial. They are evidence that God is asking you not to make a permanent decision based on temporary emotions. Instead of rushing to close a door, God may be gently leading you to step back, pray more deeply, and let Him lead. The pause is not the end. It's often the place where purpose is being shaped, healing is taking root, and clarity is on the way. One, you feel a deep inner nudge to be still. Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." When God is asking you to pause and not walk away, it usually starts with a deep and quiet sense that you are not supposed to make any major moves. You may feel a tug to slow down, reflect, and resist the urge to rush decisions. This stillness is not laziness or avoidance. It is a spiritual alert that God is doing something you cannot yet see. You may notice that when you try to move forward on your own, things feel forced or unsettled. But when you sit still and wait, there is peace. This kind of peace is not something you create, but something God sends as confirmation that He is holding you in place for a reason. This pause often brings clarity that only silence can deliver. God speaks loudly in quiet moments when you remove distractions and let Him lead. If your heart is restless but your spirit is calm when you're still, then you are exactly where God wants you, for now. 2, you keep receiving lessons through this season. Proverbs 4:7, "Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding." When God is asking you to pause, He often starts teaching you in unexpected ways. Every situation, every conversation, and every delay seems to carry meaning. You begin to see how your reactions, emotions, and decisions are being shaped not to break you, but to build you. It becomes clear that this season is not punishment. It is preparation. God allows lessons to repeat themselves until you start to respond differently. If you're becoming more patient, more forgiving, or more honest with yourself, that growth is not random. It's a divine lesson unfolding in real time. God's pause always has purpose. He never leaves you sitting still just to waste time. If you're learning more about who you are, how you love, and what He expects of you, then the pause is an active classroom, one meant to mature you, not dismiss the situation. 3, God keeps showing you things that need work in you. 2 Corinthians 13:5, "Examine yourselves as to whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves. Do you not know yourselves that Jesus Christ is in you, unless indeed you are disqualified?" Sometimes God tells you to pause because there are things inside you He wants to fix before He allows anything to continue. You may start seeing habits, fears, or attitudes that you didn't realize were hindering your relationship or your spiritual growth. Instead of blaming others, God redirects your focus inward. This refining process is uncomfortable but necessary. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. You can't move forward in the wrong mindset and expect the right outcomes. God slows things down so you can look closely at your heart and see what needs to change through His grace. In this pause, He's working on your healing, your discipline, and your ability to love correctly. It's not a rejection, it's a renovation. The pause is God's way of helping you become who you need to be before He brings clarity or restoration. For God is building your patience through the wait. Hebrews 10:36. "For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise." Waiting is one of the hardest things to do, especially when your heart is involved. But when God asks you to pause, it's often because He is stretching your patience. He knows the promise He gave you, but He also knows that the process must shape you before He gives it. You may feel frustrated or tired of waiting, but each day is building something in you. God does not ignore your faithfulness. He honors it by allowing time to mold your responses, your prayers, and your level of trust in Him, not just the outcome. When your character is being strengthened, that's a strong sign you're not meant to walk away yet. If you're learning how to be more faithful, peaceful, and patient without seeing the result right away, God is asking you to pause until the timing aligns with His purpose. 5. Your spirit is quiet even when your mind isn't. Isaiah 32:17. The work of righteousness will be peace, and the effect of righteousness, quietness and assurance forever. When God asks you to pause, one of the clearest signs is that your spirit remains calm, even though your thoughts may be all over the place. You might have questions, doubts, or stress, but deep inside you feel a quiet peace that doesn't match the confusion in your head. That stillness is God's way of holding you in position. This peace doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you trust the one who does. When God is speaking through peace, He's telling you to stay steady, not to abandon what He placed in your heart. You don't need full understanding to remain faithful. If your spirit is calm while your thoughts wrestle, then God is guiding you to wait. That spiritual quietness is not accidental. It's reassurance from heaven that you are where He needs you to be, even when everything else is uncertain. 6. Your faith is strengthened in the waiting. James 1:3, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Waiting seasons are where faith is tested the most. And if your faith is growing stronger while you wait, then that's not a mistake. God is using the delay to anchor your trust in Him and not in circumstances. Instead of walking away, you start standing firmer in what He promised you. You may notice yourself praying more, reading His Word with more intention, and leaning on Him more consistently. That growth is not for nothing. It's the evidence that God is doing something powerful in you while everything around you stays still. The wait isn't wasted. God doesn't just use your faith, He builds it. And often He does it through silence, stillness, and obedience. If you're coming out more faithful than when you started, it's a sign that God is still active in your waiting. And He's not asking you to leave, just to trust longer. 7. God is protecting you from acting in emotion. Proverbs 14:29. He who is slow to wrath has great understanding, but he who is impulsive exalts folly. God will often ask you to pause when your emotions are high, because He knows that decisions made in emotion rarely honor Him. If you feel angry, anxious, or deeply hurt, that pause might be His protection, keeping you from doing something you'll regret. He wants your choices to come from wisdom, not reaction. When you obey that stillness, it helps clear your heart and settle your thoughts. You begin to see things more clearly, hear His voice more clearly, and understand the bigger picture. God doesn't just stop you, He shields you while He works on the unseen. In many cases, walking away during emotional moments only leads to more confusion and pain. God's pause gives you a chance to calm your spirit so you can act in truth. If He's holding you back, it's because He's trying to protect the outcome from being shaped by hurt instead of healing. If the content inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to Pure Inspirational so you never miss a message that speaks to your heart. Your support helps us continue to share words that encourage, uplift, and remind you of God's timing and purpose in every season. Be blessed.